Welcome back to New York Living. Okay, inquiring minds want to know, where do you keep the ketchup?
After it's open, I put it in the refrigerator.
Is that right?
How about you?
Same. 100%.
Good chat.
It turns out not everyone stores their food correctly. They've been getting it all wrong.
Yep.
And you wanted to get to the bottom of this.
It's a very important thing, and where do you put it can make a big difference in how long it stays fresh. But before we give some expert answers, I hit the streets to find out where New Yorkers think some of these everyday food items really belong.
Fridge, freezer, or pantry? Fridge, freezer, or pantry? Fridge, freezer, or pantry? Where do you keep your ketchup?
Pantry.
That was intense.
Fridge. Fridge.
Fridge, freezer, or pantry? Where do you guys keep your ketchup?
Oh, no, thank you.
I feel like I'm asking something perverted now. Fridge, freezer, or pantry? Where do you keep your ketchup?
Both.
Both?
Yes.
It goes both ways.
Yes.
Good for ketchup. Fridge, freezer, or pantry? Where do you keep your ketchup?
Pantry.
Hi.
Hi.
Fridge, freezer, or pantry? Where do you keep your ketchup?
Oh, no.
Very personal question to ask. Where do you keep your maple syrup?
Fridge.
Maple syrup.
Fridge.
What about you?
Pantry.
After it's open?
It's gotta
Absolutely.
be fridge. It's fridge.
Right after it's open.
Never.
Thank you. Like when you open it, do you put it in the fridge?
Sometimes, but then my husband doesn't like it in the fridge. He says, you know what? It makes it even thicker. It's too cold.
It means for divorce.
Fridge.
Where do you keep your tomatoes?
Fridge.
Fridge and the tomatoes.
No, pantry. Fridge.
Okay.
After you, if you don't have like leftovers, I guess you do put in the fridge.
You're
yeah.
very technical.
Pantry.
Lettuce.
Refrigerator.
How about raw potatoes?
Counter.
How about honey?
Counter. Everything's on the counter.
We're on like a quiz show right now. Hard cheeses, fridge, pantry, or this is the weirdest thing you've ever been asked. Hard cheese. Don't ask.
Hard cheeses, fridge.
How about eggs?
Fridge.
Okay, thank God. Honey. Where do you keep your honey?
I don't like honey.
You don't like honey?
Hate it.
Are you okay? Honey.
Always sweet, yummy. I'll keep it in the pantry.
Keep it in the pantry.
Absolutely.
I like your style.
Thank you.
You're sweet as honey. Thank you very much.
I think that woman is still walking.
We are not in agreement, a lot of us, unfortunately. Yeah, so to settle the debate and help us store our food the right way is registered dietitian and author of Eating from Our Roots, Maya Feller. Hello.
There she is.
Hello.
You're the guest of honor right now, let me tell you.
Did that horrify you?
It was very funny. Sometimes I was speechless, like silent.
Okay, listen. These are questions that need answers.
Yes, they are.
Can we start over here?
Let's start over here.
Where are we storing ketchup?
Okay.
All these things.
Okay.
Ketchup,
So
Once opened.
Once opened. Okay. So once the ketchup is opened, it really should go in the refrigerator. I mean, you've broken that seal, and you don't want bacteria to get inside, so store it in the refrigerator.
Here's my question, though. When you go to a diner, the ketchup is always next to you at the table at room temperature.
You're so right.
So my belief is that in most of those settings, they actually put them into cool storage in the evening.
Sneaky.
Yeah.
But not all of
diners.
them take the gook off of the lid. That's the
They
other
don't
problem.
de-gook the lid.
No, they do
That's-
not de-gook the lid, especially in New York. I know.
got some age to it.
It does have a little.
What about maple syrup?
So maple syrup, this is a really interesting one. You can absolutely put it in the refrigerator. You'll notice that it crystallizes a little bit. That doesn't mean that anything's happened. It's just changed in terms of its chemical structure. I like to keep whatever I'm going to use on my countertop, and it's cool away from light, and then the rest I put in the fridge.
I'm going to cross my arms for this because this is an intense question,
Wow.
though. This is the biggest one people debated because, like, why would I want cold syrup on a warm pancake?
Warm it up.
That's what Marisol does.
You're right, exactly. Warm it up, warm it
Yeah.
up. You got to put it in the microwave or, put it on the stovetop and then warm it up so that you've got warm maple
But this
syrup.
one, it's not a bacteria issue. It's just a what do you like? What texture? What do you like with the temperature?
So actually, I was told by a maple farmer that it actually extends the shelf life if you store it in the refrigerator.
I got you.
Okay, fair.
Cool.
Eggs.
Eggs. This is a huge one. So in the U.S., we wash our eggs. And eggs actually have their own protective coating. So when they're washed, they have to go in the refrigerator.
Right.
That's why when you leave the U.S. and you're in Europe or in Latin America and the Caribbean, they're all on the countertop because they haven't been washed.
Unbelievable. A bonus question. To store them in the refrigerator, better to keep them in their container or put them in like a vessel?
So I actually have a special, I love eggs. Marisol, you know me and my egg farm.
She is.
I do. I love eggs. So I've got a special container that's wooden, and there's like air can circulate through my. Yes, it's serious. It's very serious.
What catalog of Sharper Image did you find that in? Let's move on to tomatoes, please.
Okay, tomatoes, this is a full countertop activity. If you put tomatoes in the fridge, they become mealy. Tomatoes have a lot of water, and you just don't want that to happen. Nicely saved on the countertop.
Room temperature.
Room temperature, away from light. Leave it right there.
Love it.
Also, pro tip, if it's not on the vine, put the stem bottom side down.
Ooh, I
Did
love
not know
that.
that.
I didn't know that either.
You take your egg seriously. I
'Cause it drains.
take my cooking seriously.
Okay, yes.
Taters.
Okay, taters.
Oh, boy.
This one, cold storage, right?
Okay.
So cold storage, let's say you've got a cellar that is free from pests.
Yeah.
You definitely want it to be cool. You don't want it to go in the refrigerator.
Okay.
You also want to have air being able to circulate in and around your potatoes. Cold storage. If you see them sprouting, doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad. However, if the color changes and you see that it's green, it's going to be a little bit
Basura.
bitter.
Right.
Toss them.
Right.
Toss them.
Yeah.
Onions and garlic. This was intense.
What do people say about the onions and garlic?
I didn't ask him. Vampires don't
It was
like
so intense.
I love it. So, right, onions and garlic, also, this is a countertop activity. Interestingly enough, in the spring, when spring garlic comes out from the farmer's market, that you can store in the refrigerator. Once you cut that long
that thing.
stalk, this is the garlic that you get, because it actually grows up out of the ground. And
Right.
so then it'll dry like this. It'll be good on your countertop from anywhere from, 3 to 6 months, depending on how you store it.
Interesting.
Honey, coffee, and rice.
Oh, this is among my favorites. So, with honey, 100% countertop in your cabinet.
Yeah.
Make sure that it's cool, away from light, dark spot, that's totally fine. When it comes to rice, this is interesting. So white rice has been refined and the outer hull has been taken off. So that's the bran and the endosperm, that's gone. So this refined white rice can really be fine at room temperature in an airtight container.
Okay.
Brown rice actually has a little bit more oil on the outside. So what I say is a airtight container. If you're concerned about pests, I actually learned from my grandmother that you can put bay leaf in both brown and white rice.
They hate
right?
that.
They hate it. And so then also sometimes I store my brown rice in the freezer. It doesn't change it. It just extends its
Extends its shelf life.
Mhm.
Okay. And cafecito.
Cafecito, this one is, once this is opened, you definitely want to put it in a cool area. I even go so far as to toss it into my freezer. I've got a bean to drip machine, so whatever is in my machine, I know, we fancy.
You got a beansicle.
I got a beansicle.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Right, so whatever is in that machine, actually, we use it and then we replenish it from the freezer.
Good to know.
Love that.
Love
Composting.
this.
I told you you'd like her.
You're blowing my mind.
Thank
Listen.
you. Class was in session.
Thank you.
I hope we all got A
Well done,
pluses.
well done.
You
You
at
did.
home, make sure to follow Maya on Instagram at Maya Feller RD. She's the founder of Maya Feller Nutrition. Especially on a Saturday after she's been to the farmer's market, it's a great follow.
It's a good